What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. Power lines that are just kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg.
Today I'm joined with Daniel. Is it Holmlund? Is that how you
It
say
is.
All right.
Double Dan today.
Yes, got so much Dan action here. So for those of you in the audience who haven't seen one of these episodes before, I interview commercial real estate investors and I quickly find out what's their motivation for their next deal. And then we discuss what's the role that they're likely to play in a co-GP situation. But the first thing that I think is very important for anybody in the audience who's looking to get more successful is you have to be able to introduce yourself effectively. So Daniel, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Daniel Holmlund. I am an engineer currently working in computer vision and artificial intelligence. I also have a real estate business, Good Samaritan Capital, where we partner with other investors in order to buy value-add apartment complexes. And right now, I know you're going to ask me questions later that I could answer now, so I'll just keep it at that. If you have other things, go ahead and bring it up.
Okay, awesome. So I'll get to the first segment here, which is I found that beginners, they don't necessarily know what they're going to do in a deal, but at least they know their motivation. So that's why I made this to, I've narrowed it down to five. This hand has five. The other one's covered. The first one that I found is some people are eager to preserve their purchasing power. In other words, they have a decent enough nest egg that's probably the main source of their income, and so the game that they've got to be thinking is they got to be concerned about inflation because that's when the party is going to be over. The second motivation that somebody has for wanting a piece of a commercial deal is the one that matches mine, which is, as a person in tech, it's on the higher end of salaries. And there's a problem though, which is that if you get that salary, you need to pay your income tax before you can invest it into wealth. Whereas if you are co-GPing, if you're on the team that takes down these commercial deals, then you're getting rewarded in the form of wealth for your time instead of income. The next one is the most common one. People are looking to fast track their retirement, but just to make explicit what's implied there is that there's an end in sight. So the idea is that a lot of people will become accredited investors and then they'll be inclined to rest on their laurels. Whereas the next group of people, they are so ambitious, they're never going to stop because they want to buy their entire hometown. Maybe they're compensating for something. It's hard to say, but at least they're not just going to call it quits once they're an accredited investor. So it's not just a matter of fast tracking their retirement for these guys. They have to have the skyscraper with their name on it, which brings me to the last one. And with a name like Good Samaritan in your company name, there's a good chance that I smell some of this, which is having some sector of society that you want to help. And so you realize that building your wealth is one of the most effective vehicles you can have to impact a particular group of society. So out of those five different motivations, like what combination or which one of those resonate with you or describe you the best, Daniel?
Well, quite a few of those resonate with me. And can I add a sixth option to there?
Yes, please.
So I mentioned this to a lot of investors that I talk to on the phone, and that is one of the reasons why I am busy in the process of converting my stock over into real estate is because the predictability of real estate is so much better. I can sit down before I purchase an apartment complex and bring on investors. I have to sit down and create a 5-year cash flow projection, a multi-year cash flow projection. I can create income and expense reports. I can make educated guesses based off financial models that include risk and include different types of sensitivity analysis. I can put together a 5-year cash flow plan that operates according to a business plan. I can't do that with my stocks. I have no idea what my stock is going to be tomorrow. I have no idea what my Bitcoin is going to be tomorrow. I have no idea. Assets that fluctuate based on their value and, you buy and sell them for a capital gains are only worth what the market will currently pay for them. But commercial real estate is worth what the income that the building produces. And so if I improve that income, it goes up and I can create a forward-looking plan. If I'm going to retire, I want to retire based on assets that I can create forward-looking plans for. It's as simple as that. So I will say that is a big motivation for me. Another big motivation is that I think people today in the United States and elsewhere need more financial education. And I think a lot of family situations, a lot of people would be positively impacted if they had more information about, their own investments. If they can be on a closer name basis with people they're investing with, if they knew more about asset protection. And so education is a big part of my goal. And then just for my company, my long-term strategic view, at least currently as of right now, I like to keep these things simple. So my long-term strategic goal is to help 50 families become financially free in 7 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a really great cause there, and I like your point. I'd say a big part of it is scarcity that you're referring to, which is when it comes to land, there's only a finite amount of space, and if you want those hot areas, then it just owning an asset with scarcity, it's a lot more reliable. So, but the next segment here, we'll get even deeper into the actual roles here because I got my Dan Does Deal die here. And so usually I start off by explaining what a repositioner is. So that includes the acquisition person. So that's why you have multiple different deals, different properties in the photos here. But the idea of a repositioner is they have to do underwriting and they have to find properties that have an upside. Now, the two easy ways you can get upside is either through more efficient operations. That's becoming less and less viable because of being in the hottest real estate market in history, but it's an important piece. But the other one, as you were mentioning, is actually upgrading the place. So you need a contractor team so that way you can charge more rent because the place is actually nicer. But if you're remote based like me, then you're also going to need a local. You're going to need boots on the ground, someone who can check in to make sure that the operations team isn't spoofing what they're sending you, and same with the contractor. But those are more or less your day-to-day stuff. And the other thing that I like to mention, just because of my background, the piece that I'd be contributing is both streamlining the repositioners acquisitions through my CRM skills and also the operations automation and the marketing piece, which is making sure that you have low vacancy. But again, that's the day-to-day people more or less. And then you have to go to the financier and say, hey, I want to buy this property that's worth millions and millions of dollars. So can you lend me millions and millions of dollars? And the thing that they're going to ask is, sure, but who's your sponsor or KP? And that's the part that surprises a lot of beginners. But you have to have somebody in the deal, in the fold, who already owns a similar asset, and you need to provide the net worth of at least the amount of the loan. So those are the 6 different roles. Again, repositioner includes underwriting, and then financier, some people are capital raisers, and so that would be another element of being a financier. But what would you describe your core competencies or what you'd contribute in a co-GP situation?
Yeah, so 2 areas, repositioning and also with financing. I also really enjoy participating in, or at least giving my advice to, the asset management team that's there. So the way Good Samaritan Capital runs is that we are fairly area agnostic, and what that means is we need to find that person that's boots on the ground, right? And we're looking for somebody who already owns a couple of hundred units in a location, which means they're already established, they know the market, they've got a property manager, they've got a contractor, they have these things within the area that you can go and talk to them about. And then my strength is honestly, if you boil down to it, my strength is teaching. I have a mastermind where I help other people establish real estate investment educational clubs. And I run the one at my place of work, which you know, no affiliation with the business. The business has nothing vested in me. We're just an employee resource organization that brings in great guest speakers, and I train other people to do that in their places of business too. And we are actively mentoring real estate clubs in most of the quite a number of the large financial tech companies that you would know. So we do this in order to grow our network. And then, of course, those people are building thought leadership platforms, and we're helping them do that. And so that's how we grow our investor network. So we do a lot of investor network growing, as well as underwriting. I enjoy that as an engineer.
Excellent, excellent. And I don't think we mentioned the name earlier. And if you don't want to mention it, you don't. But at it's
I'm a little on
major
the fence.
CPU. It's a major CPU company. Is that okay?
That's fair to say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's more of the background with that. So this next section, usually I ask for the buy box. You already said that you're somewhat geographically agnostic, and I
Sure, yeah.
like your approach of doing that for operations reasons. Because I've said before that I'm also geographically agnostic, but that's more because I meet these investors and I say it's like, all right, so what are you already on the trail of? And then I'll try and, like get as close to that, because I don't want the uphill battle of trying to say like, oh, well, I know you're in multifamily, but I have this retail for it. Like you don't want to mix classes like that. I think it's just easier to stick
Yeah,
to.
I actually turned down an offer to be part of a team raising for a self-storage group today.
Mhm.
And the reason was mainly because my investors are mainly expecting multifamily. And, there's no reason to make your image and your brand unclear.
Mhm.
Now, if you want to go through and educate your investors, you can go into those areas, but education needs to come first.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, and then as far as unit counts go, what sort of buy box do you have of that, or like asset size, purchase price, anything like that?
Sure. So we own 1,607 units throughout the Southeast and Midwest.
Mhm.
And our smallest property is 122 units. Our largest is 330.
Mhm.
And they're in 8 different states currently, working with 4 different operators.
Mhm.
And so we usually go and vet the operators rather than well, yeah, we vet the op. So when you're looking at a deal, there's 3 areas that you should really look at. First of all, is the operators.
Mhm.
They're the most important, most strategic part of the plan. They're the ones that are going to make and break the business plan. They might bake it too.
They're
We'll
doing the
see.
work.
They're doing the work, right?
Yeah.
And then next you have to look at the area. So we like the Southeast and the Midwest because in the Midwest you get good cash flow. The appreciation isn't as good, but the cash flow is great. Southeast, you've got a hybrid market where you've got a combination of cash flow and appreciation.
Mhm.
So and then most importantly too, actually more importantly, perhaps even than those 2 things, is that they're landlord friendly,
Mhm.
right? When the eviction moratorium came up, we didn't have a 12-month backlog in any of our properties because, business as usual was continuing. There wasn't a pressure being built up. So when you're looking at your business plan, regulatory risk is an important part of that assessment. If you're 3 years into your business plan, suddenly boom, I live in Portland, Oregon, and if Portland, Oregon imposes rent control, suddenly my business plan might be out the window.
Mhm.
So I don't invest in Portland. I invest in areas that are landlord friendly.
Right, right. Yeah, that makes lots of sense. And I've heard the best trick is transparency. One of my favorite ones, if I'm going to paraphrase it, was basically to apologize to the tenants and say, "Oh, sorry about the garbage, the trash that's in the hallway." They're like, "What? There's no trash in there in the hallway." It's like, "Yeah, that's right. That's because you pay your rent and we pay the people to remove it. So if you want that to continue, make sure you keep paying your rent." So that's pretty fun. But we met through a meetup through Angel Williams. I know her through LinkedIn. Is LinkedIn the best way to reach out to you, or is there a website or something that's better?
Sure, GoodSamaritanCapital.com.
Mhm.
Or I could give my Calendly link if you want me to do that. So
Go
it's
ahead.
just calendly.com/Daniel dash Holmlund, HOLMLUND.
Mhm.
And you can feel free to I have what I call our open office hours. So if you want to call me with any real estate related topic, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, I'm an active investor who just enjoys talking about real estate. So I offer a free 15-minute phone call for anybody on any real estate topic.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully they're not recording like me. Right.
Yeah, I got ambushed here when I called you.
Right,
This has
right,
been a great
exactly.
talk, though.
There's no safety net here at all. Well, except for the structure of the interview itself. But speaking of which, and I'm talking to you in the camera, the audience there. If you look kind of under here, under my hand, there should be a big red button that says subscribe, and that's bad. Okay, so you should click on it so it turns gray, and it costs you nothing. And the reason why you want to do that is because I have to pay for these instead of YouTube, and that sucks. I want YouTube to pay me that Google money, and the only way that that can happen is if I get a whole whack of subscribers. So you're doing me a big favor. All it means is that my videos will be on your list of suggestions. But Daniel, you probably know about how, I don't actually even look at the suggestions that often. I hop onto YouTube just to find something specific. So I don't know. I feel it's not as big of an ask. But anyway, Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been great.
Yeah, Dan, it's been great. Thank you.
Awesome.